Continuing on with the series of ranking the best player from each round of the draft from every draft since 2000, we now have the 6th round. You guys showed a ton of support on the first video, so as long as you guys like these, I'm going to continue to do them. And while the 7th round did produce some good NHL talent, to my surprise, there's a lot of very good NHL players right now that were selected in the 6th round. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. The best 6th round pick from every NHL draft since 2000. And always, if you guys are new and have been enjoying the content, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Kicking off with the 2000 NHL draft, and we have Deryk Engelland, who was selected in the 6th round, 194th overall by the New Jersey Devils. And Deryk Engelland was never a defenseman who put up a tremendous amount of points or anything like that, or played a ridiculous amount of minutes. Despite being drafted in 2000, he didn't actually become a mainstay in the NHL until the 2010-11 year with the Pittsburgh Penguins. All things considered, so far he has had a pretty solid NHL career with 664 games played and 127 points, and over the past 3 years he's been a really good leader for Vegas as well. The 2001 NHL draft was actually pretty difficult. I went with Jussi Jokinen because this is based off of their overall career success, but I got a couple of honorable mentions to give out here. You have guys like Ryan Clough, who was really good for a couple of years but didn't even play over 500 career games, so I couldn't go with him. You have Dennis Seidenberg, Marek Zidlicki, and Brooks Light, a lot of really solid NHL players coming from the 6th round in 2001. But I decided to go with the shootout specialist Jussi Jokinen, who played almost 1,000 career games. He's at 951. He's currently playing in the Liga, and he has 563 career NHL points as well. He was a really solid offensive player for the most part. Not too many options to choose from for the 02 draft, but I went with defenseman Ian White, who was selected in the 6th round by the Maple Leafs, 191st overall. And when I heard this guy's name, I was like, oh yeah, I remember him, because he did play for the Red Wings for a couple of years and actually had some decent offensive seasons for a defenseman. He played 503 career games, 179 career points, and he hasn't played a pro hockey game since 2014-15, but he had an okay career. Moving on now to the 03 draft, and my pick has to be defenseman Marc Methot, who was selected by the Blue Jackets 168th overall. I do got a couple of honorable mentions, Drew Miller and Nate Thompson, who both had decent NHL careers as well. Nate Thompson actually still playing, but I think out of those guys, Marc Methot definitely overall had the most success at the NHL level. Methot's best years coming towards the end of his career with the Ottawa Senators, paired in a defense pairing with Erik Karlsson. Those two worked great together, and overall Methot just had a really solid NHL career. For the 04 draft, we have defenseman Roman Polak, who was selected by the St. Louis Blues, 180th overall. Definitely not a player that lit up the score sheet, at least offensively. He was definitely on there a lot for penalty minutes and stuff, but he played a lot of games, and that's kind of the reason I have him here. 789 games, always a useful defenseman. He's probably going to be a healthy scratch on some nights, but always someone you could plug in on the bottom pairing. The 05 draft, there wasn't too many options, so I went with Matt D'Agostini. He hasn't been in the NHL since 2014-15. He's playing over in Switzerland currently, but he had a couple of okay years in the NHL, highlighted by a 46-point season in 2010-2011. He played 324 NHL games and had 107 career points, so I guess he's the best 6th rounder from 05. Moving on now to the 2006 NHL draft, and I went with Matthew Perreault, who was selected in the 6th round, 177th overall by the Washington Capitals. But I do have some honorable mentions, guys like Andy McDonald and Victor Stahlberg, who have had good careers too, but I feel like of the three, Matthew Perreault has been the most consistent and successful at the NHL level. He's played 617 career games, has 129 goals, 193 assists for 322 points, and sure, the last couple of years his production has continued to decrease, but he's still a pretty useful player for Winnipeg. Moving on to 2007, and my pick is Nick Bonino, who was selected in the 6th round, 173rd overall by the San Jose Sharks. I do have some honorable mentions for this one as well, guys like Pat Maroon, Paul Byron, and Carl Hagelin, all pretty successful as well, but I feel like of those guys, Nick Bonino definitely has had the most success and has been the better player. 602 career games, 272 points, he's been to multiple Stanley Cup finals, he's won a Stanley Cup, and overall has just been pretty successful, and his career is still going strong. He's an important player for Nashville right now. For the 08 draft, man was this one ever close. I went with Cam Atkinson, who was a 6th round pick, 157th overall by the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I was so close to going with Jared Spurgeon, who is a beast and has been a beast for a long time on the blue line. So huge huge honorable mention to him, but I did decide to go with Cam Atkinson. He has scored 20 or more goals on 6 different occasions, highlighted by a 35 and a 41 goal season. He's got 363 career points in 562 games. He's been having an amazing career, and he's still a very good player for Columbus. Moving on now to the 2009 draft, we have Islanders captain Anders Lee, who was selected 152nd overall by New York, and obviously this proved to be a great pick. I do want to give a big honorable mention to Darcy Kemper, who is one of the best goalies in the NHL right now, but remember, this is based off of the overall career success, and Kemper really was a backup for the most part. Anders Lee has played 467 career games, has 165 goals, and 118 assists for 283 total points, obviously highlighted by the 40 goal season he had in 2017-18. Next up, the 2010 draft, and we have Mark Stone. This was an easy pick, 178th overall by Ottawa in the 6th round. It's crazy to me that a player so good was drafted so late. He's one of the best players in the entire NHL right now for the Golden Knights, and it still kind of blows my mind Ottawa didn't even get a first round pick in return for him. Stone is having a great first full season in Vegas so far with 43 points in 47 games. He's definitely one of my favorite players to watch in the league too. For the 2011 draft from Minnesota, we have Josh Manson, who was selected 160th overall by the Anaheim Ducks. I do want to give an honorable mention to Dylan DeMello because he's become a pretty solid defender as well. Josh Manson hasn't really been able to get back to the offensive defenseman he was in 2017-18 where he had 37 points, but he still has been just a steady, reliable guy for Anaheim back there. And of course, a big reason why his numbers haven't been the greatest the past 2 years is because the team just isn't very good. Next up, the 2012 draft from Pittsburgh, and I'm going with Connor Brown, who was selected 156th overall by the Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously current member of the Ottawa Senators. He's had a really good career. He had a 20-goal rookie season with the Leafs in 2016-17, and he's thriving in his new situation in Ottawa this year with 25 points in 43 games. I do want to give an honorable mention on this one to Vinny Hinostroza as well because he's become a pretty solid player, but for me, Connor Brown definitely gets the edge over Hinostroza. The 2013 draft was kind of a dud for 6th rounders. I'm going to go with Alan Quinn. Hopefully that's how you say his name. I'm honestly not even quite sure, but he was selected 166th overall by the Islanders and is really the only player from the 6th round in 2013 that has played a good amount of NHL games. He's played over 100. He's an interesting case though because he was a 3rd round pick by Detroit in 2011, went unsigned, and then re-entered the draft in 2013 to ultimately become the 6th round pick. But he's having a great season in the AHL for the Stockton Heat with 28 points in 22 games, so shout out to him for that. The 2014 draft, I'm definitely going with Kevin Labanc, who was selected 171st overall by the San Jose Sharks, and he's currently a vital part to that team. Had 56 points last year. Obviously, he's the $1 million man now. He signed that 1-year, $1 million deal. It's kind of like a bridge contract. Probably costed himself a good amount of money doing that because he's most likely not going to crack 56 points this year like he did last season, but he's still a very good young player with a ton of potential. The 2015 draft, I'm definitely going to go with defenseman John Marino, who was selected by the Edmonton Oilers 154th overall, obviously current member of the Pittsburgh Penguins, so shout out to Edmonton for letting a really good young defenseman get away from them. I do want to give honorable mentions to Andrew Mangiapane and Mason Appleton, but I feel like John Marino is just the real deal. I know it's only a small sample size, but he has been a beast for Pittsburgh this year and looks like a veteran out there, but he's only 22. He's got 20 points in 41 games and has a plus 14 rating. He's been a massive reason why Pittsburgh has been so good this year. For the 2016 draft in Buffalo, the pick easily has to be Jesper Bratt, who was selected 162nd overall by the New Jersey Devils. He came in 2017-18, had a great rookie season with 35 points, was well on his way to a breakout year last year with 33 points in 51 games before getting hurt, and yeah, he has struggled a little bit this season with 15 points in 35 games. He's a great skater, has a ton of offensive upside, and he's only 21 years old. Next up from the 2017 draft, we have Jonathan Davidson, who was selected 170th overall by Columbus, and the reason why is because he's actually the only 6th round pick from this draft that has played an NHL game yet. He's played 6 games for Ottawa this season and has 1 assist. Looks like he's going to be a pretty decent prospect for them. He came over in the Matt Duchene trade or the Ryan Dzingel trade, one of the two. And then we have the 2018 draft from Dallas. No player drafted in the 6th round has yet to play any NHL games, so we can't really determine that yet. And obviously same goes for the 2019 draft because barely any players from that draft has played a game yet. But if there is any prospects from either the 2018 or 2019 draft that were selected in the 6th round that you think are going to turn out to be pretty good, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support on the first video. I usually don't set like goals, but on that video I asked for 600 likes and you guys killed that. So for this video, let's try to hit 650, and as long as you guys continue to support these, I'm going to continue to do them. Also, I want to say thank you guys so much for 25,000 subscribers. That was a big goal of mine, so I'm super excited we hit that. Just once again, thank you so much for all the support. And with all that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in tomorrow's video.